75 Hard. A Dad's Transformation.
Hi everyone, welcome to day 22 of my 75 hard challenge. Still a little bit under the weather, but there was so much stuff I had to do that today, so I had to power through. I made myself a plan when I got up that morning, and I was pretty proud of myself because when my alarm clock went off, I immediately got up, took my book out and read the 10 pages. So I thought, okay, let's get that out of the way really quick. After that, I went down, took a shower, got myself ready. Even when I still felt a little bit under the weather, I said to me, there's so much going on today and you need to get stuff done because there are a couple of things coming in the afternoon where you won't be able to get stuff in. So I made the kids ready, got my wife, everyone was in the car, school, office, kindergarten, and then back to the office. I immediately took out the under the desk treadmill and said, okay, let's do that as a first workout. I actually ended up walking for like 1.5 hours on the treadmill with a, I would say, pace of like 4.2 kilometers an hour. Not too fast, so a steady walk. And while I was doing that, I took care of a couple of things from like bookkeeping and other stuff that was on my list that day. Because in the afternoon, there was a school party planned and we had a meeting before that with the kindergarten teacher to talk about my youngest son, about kind of this perspective and what's coming after the kindergarten, elementary school, and if he's ready for it. Apparently he is. That's great news. And then I immediately had to head out to the school party because I was under the impression that my son signed me up for like the build-up of this specific station that the kids had to work on. Because the school party was more like a rally where the school is collecting money from like the parents and relatives for like things to purchase for the school. And there were a couple of stations where different classes were offering games or putting stuff together, handcrafting things and stuff like that. Yeah, I arrived there and I immediately realized, okay, that was my fault because I took a look at the list and my son was signed up to help, but there was other mother already there supporting this, and I wasn't even mentioned on the list. So that again showcased me as a good parent because I was there before this thing already started and I sold it really hard that I'm super engaged. Luckily, obviously there were a lot of like there was a cake buffet with cookies and muffins and all this ridiculous tasty stuff that I wasn't allowed to eat. But the cool thing is they're set up, because there are a couple of international people on that school, they set up an international buffet. So I was able to get my hands on some vegan couscous, some live pretzels, and somebody prepared guacamole. So luckily I had like lunch options. That was cool. The school party went on, I think, till from like 2:45 till 7:30, and my youngest son brought one of his kindergarten friends along. So while my wife and I kind of circled around this event, talked to other parents, we had to look out for the other kids as well. And my son, the older one, who is all over the place there. But overall, it was super nice and it was cool kind of meeting the other parents and talk a bit about kind of the school and the environment they're in and their experience with the school so far. I nerdily brought along my gallon. That was obviously something. Sometimes it's a little bit embarrassing, but I really want to make sure that I got my water in early, and that was kind of the only way, aside from having like 2 or 3 cups of coffee there. When we got home, I immediately took one of the dogs, and since I still wanted to keep the workouts a little bit more low-key, I did another walk around the neighborhood with a little bit faster of a pace than yesterday. But again, I wanted just to make sure I'm not going to overdo it. But yeah, that was it. But I want to talk about something really quick before we kind of go through the list. aspartame drinks like Diet Coke and all this stuff. I'm really struggling with it because it's a love-hate relationship. Obviously, it's cool to have something to drink aside from water, which is low calorie or has no calories at all, no sugar at all. But it obviously is not healthy for you. And the most scariest part there is that I somehow I'm not able to ditch that habit. This whole I thought that the whole sweets thing would be pretty difficult for me to avoid, like this kind of stuff, but apparently that's not it, because I'm so focused to kind of get this no cheat and no alcohol in that I'm really struggling, and I'm struggling already for months to kind of get rid of this whole soft drink and dietary drink consume of this whole stuff. I would be thankful if you maybe kind of sent me an email. Maybe you have kind of the same issue, and maybe you have a couple of tips. It's just annoying because I'm trying to be more conscious about it. And to be honest, I'm not really, even when I'm drinking them, I feel like I'm consuming them, but I'm not enjoying them. You know what? It more likely feels like out of a necessity that the withdrawals, even when there are no. So yeah, I tend to get headaches when I stop. After a couple of days and I stop drinking it, I get headaches. But I really like when I go to the supermarket and I know that I don't have anything at home. This is more likely one of the first kind of aisles I go to and say, okay, let's shop. And it's really hard for me to pass these aisles and pass on like one of the aspartame drinks. And it annoys the fuck out of me that I'm not strong enough to get this out of my life. And I watched a couple of videos, and I feel like I'm not the only person, obviously, with this habit. And I'm just wondering, why the freak are these products legal? Because this is some would have like an full-blown addict on like nicotine or whatever. It's all the same. It's all the same. And I tend to kind of find ways out and say, yeah, but I'm vegan now. I don't drink alcohol. I don't do sweets. So what else is there? Should I just torture myself with everything? But on the other hand, it's so unhealthy and I should stop. But I'm weak when it comes down to that. And I'm really angry about myself. And I'm reading the self-discipline book, and I'm so annoyed about the situation. But I somehow, especially when you're sick, you get like weak. And I'm annoyed about myself that I'm not able to ditch that habit. But there are 53 days left. And this is something I really want to get through when I'm done with 75 hard. I want it to be done with consuming dietary sodas when I'm done with 75 hard. That's the plan. So let's go through the list. Drank a gallon of water, stick to my diet, didn't have any alcohol, didn't cheat, took a picture under the desk treadmill, walk around with the dog in the neighborhood. Thank you for tuning in. Here tomorrow. Bye.